We are officially live on the T Podcast today. It's a big old Friday in South Louisiana. If you're listening today, we have a great episode. We're talking with Dr. Ryan Cazares. If you saw his name and you're like Cazares, I mean, kind of close, but it's Cazares. Really cool name. He is a optometrist. He owns his own practice in Scott, Louisiana, called Scott Eye Care. Really well-known business in the community. So if you haven't heard about him, you will in just a minute. Real quick, our studio sponsor is Optimize GP, Optimize Generator People. They are a great local business to get your home set up with a whole home standby generator solution. So if you're looking to power your home with confidence during any outage, great words there, then you're going to want to check them out because during hurricane season, during these spotty like electrical outages, this place will hook you up. They'll get you set up with the whole home generator. And if you have a power outage, 30 seconds later, you got your power back on, your Wi-Fi is back on, you got your Netflix and your Hulus and all that stuff back streaming. So, you're good. And then when your power comes back on, you're good. You just, your things, it just runs. And it runs practically forever. It's really cool. So if your power stays out forever, you got a backup generator. So check them out, optimizegp.com. And yeah, we hope you enjoy the episode. All right. And our presenting sponsor is Chase Group Construction. They take the lead and become your one point of contact for the entire design build process. Or if you're looking to build a new business or renovate a business, you're going to want to check them out. ChaseGroupConstruction.com. Check them out. Really great website, great local company, building a ton of new stuff around town. So if you see their sign, it's the blue and orange construction signs. That's like looks like a big C and a little G, orange and blue and white. Possibly. Check them out. Great local company. So if you're looking to build, reach out to them, chasegroupconstruction.com. And with that, let's get on with the episode. All right. Dr. Ryan Cazares, welcome to the T Podcast.
Hey, thank you for having me, man.
So, man, it's been a few years. I would say close to 5 years since you've been on the podcast.
I was looking at earlier, it was 2019, so like 6 years, yeah.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
That's wild.
It is, man.
A lot has happened.
Yeah, like a pandemic and, a couple of things, yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So tell me, for those that may not know, tell me a little bit about yourself in a short and sweet kind of elevator pitch style, if you can.
Okay. So yeah, I'm from Scott, Louisiana. I'm a optometrist. I own Scott Eye Care, and I'm the singer and guitar player for a band, Dr. C and the Gree. And I'm the founder of the Lafayette Community Musical Instrument Library, or MyBrary for short. That's me in a nutshell, man. I love Lafayette. I love living here. So yeah, I would say that's a little summary of myself.
No, that's a great summary, and I want to go ahead and kind of unpack a little bit about that. Okay, so Skip, my friend there, says Dr. C is the man. Okay, so you said you are in a band called Dr. C and the Gree.
Yeah.
All right, tell me a little bit about that.
Okay, so prior to optometry school, I was in a local band called Cattlehead, and we made a couple records as a couple young, 3 young guys. But then we all kind of went on our separate paths. I went to school. A drummer went to the Navy. And then moving back home, the first thing I wanted to do was play music again because I had free time all of a sudden, and you don't have that in school. I mean, it's intense, So if y'all remember Craigslist, that's still a thing. Do people still use Craigslist? I posted an ad and found some bandmates. And after a few years, that didn't work out. But I had some songs written, a lot of them, and I kept the drummer from the Sour Sedans, which was my middle band right there, and just asked a few musician friends to help me make sort of a solo record. But it was collaborative after all was said and done, with my bass player and my drummer. It ended up being pretty collaborative. And we don't play every month, unfortunately, but we try to play as often as we can. We've got a few shows coming up this fall. But it's fun. I really consider myself to be a creative and an artist, and I'm an optometrist, so I can pay bills and go on fun trips and stuff like that and buy guitars. But yeah, no, I like deep down, I'm a creative, I'm an artist, and but that's a tough lifestyle, and I'm kind of glad I chose the path that I did. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, being a creative is definitely a tough lifestyle.
Yeah.
Trust me. So I'm pretty sure you can kind of tell I am more of a creative person as well. And, it's tough. Like I like graphic design, and you can make it in graphic design, but it's almost like if you don't own your own business, or if you don't have like a really good network, or if you don't live in another city, it's going to be tough. Like you really have to get out there.
It's kind of like, a lot of, you'll see phases of like these little niche businesses pop up. Like at one time it was the like selfie places. Those kind of popped up all of a sudden. And then there was like axe throwing places. They don't stick around because they have to, it's a great idea, but once the novelty wears off, then you've got to have something else to sustain your business. So I know what you mean. Like you have your creative idea outlet, but yeah, you need a network, or you need some kind of other sustainable work alongside of it to kind of keep it going. So I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. Speaking of places just kind of popping up and disappearing, I mean, you mentioned, so the selfie places, you're right. There was a ton of them that popped up, and now they're all gone. Which we kind of saw that coming.
Sure.
And then there was, what was it, a while back? The yogurt places. That was a hot trend. Tons of yogurt places around. There's like one or two, I think, still left if you can find it. Then now you don't see those anymore. And then there was something else, the axe throwing places. A couple of those popped up around town. One of them just announced that they were closing. And I think there was one in Youngsville. I don't even know if it's still open anymore. I have not heard a single thing about it. Yeah, tough stuff, man.
But I mean, for example, like a place like Kart Ranch, they have go-karts, but they also have laser tag, and they have batting cages. So a business, in certain businesses, it's valuable to be niche, but in others, it's just too, there's too much of a short novelty life, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
So,
well, we can definitely dive into that a little bit more. I want to go back to something you said. You chose to be an eye doctor, essentially, so you could pay bills. In high school, was that the thing that you knew you had to do? Was that like, hey, like, most people, I say most people, I'm going to say the average person probably figures out what they want to be, or like have an idea kind of like midway through high school, because you really have to start kind of figuring out something. And now some people figure out their way through college and figure out what they want to be after that. I didn't go to college, so my real world of like, oh, what do I need to do, was figured out in high school. In high school, what did you think you would end up doing with your life? Was it being an optometrist?
Yeah, that's a good question, man. So, in my first 3 years of high school, I was sold on, majoring in art. I love to draw. I did a little bit of painting. And so I didn't know what I was going to do with that, but freshman year, my biology teacher, it may have been sophomore, but I think it was freshman year. He took me aside and he said, "Man, you do so well on my test. Like, are you planning on being a doctor, or what are you thinking?" And I was like, "Nah, I'm doing art." And he was like, "You really should at least consider this, you know." And at that point is when I kind of started thinking about it and how I could, I work hard no matter what I do, but it would be just such a difficult thing to be an artist and just constantly grind and so at a young age I knew I kind of wanted to go a different path. But what's funny is the Rampage, which is Acadiana High's newspaper, I don't know if they have that still, but senior year, they asked a bunch of seniors what we wanted to be when we grow up. And they asked me, and mine says an optometrist or a rock star on it.
Dude.
So I was always interested in optometry ever since I needed glasses and contacts.
And what year was that? Like, what grade were you in when you needed contacts and lenses?
Probably like 6th or 7th grade.
Okay, so you were interested in optometry for a lot earlier than high school.
Yeah. I just thought it was really cool, like how I think most people you talk to who wear glasses, they can tell you the first time they put them on and they can see the leaves on the trees. Like, that's the first thing they go to is they say, "I can see the leaves on the trees now." Like, everybody says that. So, that just kind of sparked my interest. And throughout college, I worked for some optometrists, and I saw that there was other things than just glasses and contacts that you can do. There's a lot of help you can provide people with different kinds of eye diseases. And I went down that path, and it's been great. It's been really good to me. So yeah, very pleased. I'm glad I took that route, and I still have the time to write and make music and draw and all this stuff. So yeah, it's good, man.
Yeah. Okay. So we had a couple of comments come in. A Thyler,
Oh no.
Canahan, I guess, he goes, "Their drummer sucks." What's the story behind that?
That is my drummer.
Lovely. I figured.
My band.
I figured. And then Seth Thomas goes, "I disagree." Well, Seth probably didn't realize that was the drummer. That's funny.
That's funny.
Okay. So going now, you're an optometrist coming out of college. I'm guessing that's what you did coming out of college. You went to school for that. How many years did it take to go to school for optometrists, to be an optometrist?
Yeah. So I did 4 years at UL, got my undergrad in biology, and then 4 more years.
Yeah.
So I went to University of Houston for 4 years. The first 3 years are in Houston at the school. And then the last year you kind of rotate through different clinics, and my rotations were in Dallas. 4 years college, 4 years like graduate doctoral.
Yeah. So the expected 8 years to kind of become a doctor. So you're like a legit doctor.
Yeah, I mean, some medical doctors are like, "Well, you're not a real doctor," but
that's what they say about dentists too.
yeah. But the eye is like, it takes the full 4 years to understand the eye. Like, I mean, it's wild how complex the eye is. So yeah, any kind of doctor of anything should never be discredited, man. We're experts in what we do. So yeah, I would say, I'm a doctor. Man, I prescribe medication too. So, I practice medicine.
You write scripts. You're a doctor.
Yeah.
You have that power.
Yeah.
Just to wield the wand of medication.
Yeah. I've had I can't go into details, but I've had friends ask for favors, and I'm like, I can prescribe stuff if it pertains to your eyes. But if you're asking me to feel, something a little more personal or nothing to do with the eyes, I cannot do that. I'm sorry. I know I'm your friend, but I just can't do that. I'll leave that up to your imagination, but
wow. Dude, okay. I was gonna like say some random drug names, but I'm gonna go ahead and not.
Don't do it.
Because I don't know if Facebook is gonna be like, "Yo, let's kill the stream." Because they're talking about some stuff.
Yeah.
All right, man. So Dr. C and the Gree. At what point? I mean, obviously, you wanted to be a rock star and an eye doctor. Coming out of high school, how? Like, when did you come up with the band name? Like, obviously, Dr. C, Dr. Cazares, but like, I mean, for those who are not familiar, and I'm pretty sure I understand the idea, but Gree, Dr. C and the Gree. Explain that.
Okay. Yeah, Gree is basically like, I guess you could, Cajuns would say Gree more as like luck type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But like New Orleans is more of like a voodoo type of practice.
Yep.
And I wanted to name my band Dr. C and something. And then I was listening to Dr. John's Gree album, and I just saw the parallels right there, Dr. C, Dr. John. Gree is probably my favorite, or one of my favorite records from him. And yeah, that was the parallel there. Now, we don't sound anything like Dr. John, but like he's just a cool influence and very original and so cool that we can, as Louisianans, can call him our own, So,
Mm-hmm.
So that was the inspiration behind it, and it rhymes, which is cool.
Yeah. Okay, I want to go ahead and get my last sponsor in, and then we'll continue on. And that sponsor is the Music Academy of Acadiana. They're Acadiana's top choice for music lessons. So you've heard me talk about them before. If you are interested in learning music, or if you have children that want to learn music, obviously, this is a great episode to listen to because we have a literal musician, sitting right here. Check them out. They have wind instruments, string instruments, stuff you can beat on. They can even help you improve your voice with voice coaching. And they also have an award-winning in-house recording studio. So if you learn music through them, which I don't think you have to learn music through them to use the studio, because I think it's a separate business inside the business. But it's also great that they have that to where you can kind of graduate and actually record a fully produced album with professional editing and all that jazz. All that jazz for sure. And so, yeah, check them out. Music Academy, Acadiana.com. Great local company, locally founded by UL Lafayette Music School graduate Tim Benson. Great local guy. He's also in an emo, screamo, whatever you want to call it, alternative rock band from the early 2000s called The Criers. You probably have heard about them. Dr. C over here is shaking his head.
Yeah.
But yeah, check them out. Music Academy, Acadiana.com. And really appreciate their support.
Yeah. Can I speak on Tim?
For sure.
Yeah. So Tim, I don't know, during COVID, I was just on this high because, like, we were, as business owners, we were kind of in fight or flight mode, for that whole shutdown period. And when I heard that the Music Academy was having to cancel lessons, I had this idea, or I shouldn't say they were having to cancel lessons. Their parents were having to cancel because they were getting laid off and stuff.
Right.
So this idea popped in my mind where, what if we could raise enough money to pay for all of the students' lessons for a month while their parents can figure something out. And so I had like this online fundraiser where I got local musicians to play different songs and stuff. And during that live stream, we raised enough money to pay for a month of their lessons during COVID. And it was really cool because Tim's got a cool concept over there, and it's important what he does, and it's very accessible. It's very easy to get going over there. They're very flexible with their times. And then he ended up putting my name outside of one of the rooms over there.
Really?
And I was like, it's like one of the biggest honors. I was like, man, I don't know. It was just an idea I had, but yeah, Tim's awesome, man. He used to be my neighbor. He's moved, but, yeah, good guy. Very entrepreneurial, like ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, very good guy. He's supported the podcast probably, I want to say, since you last came on. He's been on and just continues, and I really appreciate their support. And yeah, it's a great little school, man. Lots of people are enrolled there. Whenever the last time I went, which has been a couple of years now, they had over 500 students enrolled, which is wild.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's a lot.
That's amazing. Yeah, I've taken some lessons there. My niece has taken some lessons.
Wait, you took lessons?
Yeah.
For what?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I'm a self-taught player, and at some point you'll just run into a wall. And so if you learn some theory and some techniques, it really helps and opens up your playing. So, yeah, I mean, you can take lessons no matter how good or how new you are to the instrument. It's very helpful.
Let's see. So Seth Thomas says that was one of the best things during COVID's uncertainty. Thank you for making that live stream happen.
Yeah, I remember. So I know Seth. Seth is kind of behind the scenes guy, helping local bands and local venues and stuff. And yeah, I remember him tuning in. It was kind of before live streaming,
really took off.
Right.
I mean, in a more of a mainstream kind of way, because before COVID, remote work and Zoom calling was kind of not exclusive, but you only needed it for very niche reasons. And then after COVID, live streaming became the dominant way for people to communicate, and because we were all sheltering in place and scared for our lives, essentially, the way that we were making it out to be. And then we were all just playing on the internet, going live and doing things.
Yeah. So I guess what was cool about that live stream concert was it was pre-recorded, but we were, I had some people help me out. A lot of people helped me out with it. And my friend Sam, he was able to stitch all the performances together and stream it as if it were live through Facebook. And that was kind of something that was pretty new at that time. But yeah, like you said, it's the norm now. And I'm sure COVID had a lot to do with it, so.
Oh yeah. I mean, people had to get real creative during COVID. Even DJs. I was on this local DJ, I guess essentially a circuit. I don't know if you want to call it that, but DJ Digital, DJ Trashy, DJ Moon, all the DJs that are well known in the area were live streaming. And it was so cool because there were thousands of people tuning in to these live streams on a Friday, Saturday night. Cause you couldn't get out, going to a bar or a club was weird. You don't do that at that time. Everything was shut down. And so everybody was just in their house vibing and bumping to, whatever music you were down for. And if you liked more of a live band situation, there were tons of that playing. But I love EDM. I love techno stuff. So DJ Trashy, dude, he was going hard on his streams. And I loved it because, they were making money. They were keeping their selves afloat and just generating tips. And I was like, this is the coolest thing in life, in the most weirdest part of life ever. It's just to witness kind of what happened during COVID. It was almost, I hate to use this term with COVID because COVID's so stupid, but it was a beautiful time in human creativity and ingenuity. It really was.
Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yeah, even if you were home by yourself or with your family, a lot of people were doing DIY stuff, it was a really incubator for creativity and innovations for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I know I feel like I'm kind of hopping all over the place, and then forgive me, guys, if you're listening and I'm hopping all over. I want to go back to Scott Eye Care. When did you open Scott Eye Care after becoming I guess, a certified, licensed, whatever you want to call it, doctor?
Yeah. So I graduated optometry school in 2011. I started working out of the Eunice area later in that year, 2011. Not long after I started working, I just wanted to be home. And, my family's important to me. All of my friends are in the Lafayette area. Eunice is like just far enough away, to feel like you're, somewhere else.
Eunice can be somewhere else sometimes.
not trying to hate on Eunice, but
No, I love Eunice.
Yeah,
it's different.
It's a great, and it that community has everything you need in that city. You don't really have to leave if you need something. But no, I just wanted to be home, and Scott had never had an eye doctor. So, I don't know. I took the plunge. I had a teacher during my last year of school who said, like, he was talking to us about how to get a job out of school. And, he talked about working for corporate, things like Walmart and America's Best and stuff like that. He talked about joining private practice owned by an optometrist. But then he said, there's not a better time to open your own clinic. And I thought that was like just kind of a weird thing to say. But what he said made sense. He was like, you'll never feel comfortable with the knowledge you have, even if you gain more. And you are already broke. so do it now. And like, man, that was a good point. And I'm so glad I did it not long after school. So it was 2 years after becoming a doctor in 2013 that I opened. And I'm glad I did it then, because as you get older and if you have ambitions to start a family and all that stuff and buy a house, you're not going to have less bills. You know what I mean? So,
oh my gosh.
So it made sense, and it's really taken off for us, and we've got a good team over there. I'm pretty proud of how we've grown and our reputation, and man, it's good. It's a blessing for sure, man.
Yeah, no. So you've been making a pretty good splash in the community for multiple things. Obviously, your music and your clinic, but just your love for the area, I admire. And for a while there, I don't know if you still do this, but for a while there, you were posting on social, asking about what are some local places that you can visit that you haven't been to before, and different restaurants that maybe you haven't heard of, and just to see that that you're constantly integrating yourself, and even through your practice and through your music, it's really admirable. So you started Scott Eye Care in 2013. You were all by yourself at that time?
Yeah, it was just me, and like two employees that when we opened, and we were just seeing patients 3 days a week. And with that Eunice job I had, part of it was going to Kinder 2 days a week to work at a practice there. And so I kept that job for 2 days a week, and I worked 3 days at Scott Eye Care seeing patients and just trying to get up, off the ground. So, yeah.
Okay. So do you have another optometrist that works for you now?
Yeah, Dr. Gisela Garvin is my associate, and we're actually classmates. So we sat,
Nice.
if you know me, I sat in the back of the class, all right?
Of course.
And our friend Kathy sat here, and then Gisela sat here. So it's crazy how it kind of came full circle, because she started practicing in New Orleans. She moved to Austin, And then somehow I was able to recruit her here from
In
Austin.
Scott.
Yeah.
Scott, Louisiana.
Yeah, but no, I mean, the truth is that I just actually came back from Austin. I love Austin. Beautiful, very outdoorsy. But, you know, in recent years, it's become very expensive to raise a family there. And that's was important to her and her husband. And they've come here and they've fit in great. And her husband is, if you go to the farmer's market, he's Louisiana locavores. He sells the sweet potato tortilla tacos. And
What?
so good, man.
Wait, sweet potato tortilla?
Mm-hmm.
Stop the madness. I love sweet potatoes so bad.
So yeah, he's out of town this farmer's market because he's got a job working for I want to say a Porsche racing team.
Okay.
Cooking for them. Like he's not even a chef, but like he's so freaking good at what he does. And yeah, so I'm very happy for him. I mean, he fit in here right away. But yeah, go to Louisiana Locavores. Tacos and tortillas at the farmer's market every Saturday. Look for the sweet potato colored tacos, man. So good.
Okay.
So delicious.
Look, now I really need to go to the market. God.
He won't be there tomorrow, but
I know. That's
go
crazy.
next week, man.
So Taylor Trichet just recently commented, says Dr. C is the best of the best. Taylor is a local, local's almost weird to say, but she's like great. But she is a local anchor for KLFY TV 10. Great person. And actually, since Taylor is in the comment section, you guys have worked a little bit together, and she's been kind of vlogging some experiences that she's been having with some new innovative contact lenses, from what I understand.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about what she's going through.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's like the HIPAA stuff you probably have to abide by. I mean, but she's been telling her story a little bit, so I don't know.
Well, as long as she's given me permission to talk about her case, it's fine. Yeah. So it's cool because, like, you know, I had heard that she, you know, for those who aren't aware, she used to work for News 15, and always admired her. Like, we talked during COVID about the musical instrument library and stuff like that. She was always very, like, engaging, and she would do a lot of outreach to find people to spotlight on her show. And you know, I thought that was really cool. We kept in touch, and when I saw that they had mass layoffs there, you know, I reached out after a period of time, and, you know, just to see if there's anything I could do to help or what have you, just to check in on her. And she had an idea to kind of be like a local influencer type of thing. And I thought that was genius because of her following social media, you know, and not letting that go to waste, even though she didn't have the job that helped her to get the followers. But it turns out she had the perfect amount of nearsightedness for what's called orthokeratology. And so
she was a perfect candidate.
She was a perfect candidate. So, and she'll let me say this, but her prescription is minus 3.00 in each eye.
That's bad. Right? I don't know. It sounds bad.
It's
I
not,
don't know. What's the degree?
It's not terrible, but it's a pretty typical nearsightedness.
Okay.
It's not bad enough to where, like, that person can't get LASIK or stuff like that. It's a pretty average amount of nearsightedness, but it's enough to where, like, she's got to wear something to drive and what have you, you know? So I don't want to stop you, but what is the what is the range? Is there like a 0? Is there a plus? So there's a negative, sounds like. Yeah.
What is the range? So can I get a perspective of that?
Yeah. So let's say someone's prescription is 0. Okay. That person can see 20/20. They can see great. They don't need glasses. They don't need contacts. If the patient has a plus sign in front of their prescription, that means their eyes have to strain to see up close. So they're farsighted. Okay, their eyes at relaxed state can see well far, but they have to really strain their eyes to see close. The opposite is nearsightedness if you have a minus in the front, and that means you can see close up to an extent, and then past that point, things start to get blurry. So for me and Taylor, we both have a similar prescription. Like past like here, we can't really see a whole lot, or it's not, I should say it's not clear. So what orthokeratology is or we call it like overnight sight. It's these little contact lens retainers you wear to sleep, and they're hard contacts, so they're safe to sleep in, as opposed to like a soft contact that has water, as a major piece of it.
That's why you got to keep those in like a liquid thing at night.
Right. So you sleep with these overnight. It slowly, over a period of time, reshapes your cornea. And after, for Taylor, it was maybe a week. And after a week, in the morning, she takes them out, and she's 20/20 for the whole day. Now, you have to wear them every night to keep that up, because it's completely reversible. The cornea will go back to its regular shape if you decide not to wear them anymore. And the reason it's actually been around a long time, but the reason it's more popular now is because when a child starts showing nearsightedness, a lot of times it's age 7, 8, 9 when they start showing nearsightedness. If we put them in these contact retainers, it will slow down their progression. So, for example, if Taylor's a -3 and she and her husband have a child, and that child is destined to also become a -3, if we start them on the orthokeratology treatment, they may only be a -1.50 by the time they're an adult. It's pretty cool. It's very new to optometry, but it's been studied for a long time, and we're starting to get a lot of patients who are interested in this. It's called myopia management. Myopia is the scientific word for nearsightedness, and if we can slow that at a young age, we can prevent eye disease, basically, because nearsightedness as an adult, you're more likely to have things from glaucoma to retinal detachments. So it's a really cool cutting edge thing that we do at Scott Eye Care. And that's how I like to try to separate ourselves, is just to stay on top of developing medicine and optometry. So Taylor's 20/20. She made a video recently where she went to the beach, and I think she may have even forgotten to wear them one night.
It was still pretty fine.
Yeah, it was fine because she's been wearing them for months, and it's been cool. She's really helped me get patients and really just raise awareness in the community, because I think that's important. And yeah, she's been fun to work with. And if you have a business or you want to spread the word about something, reach out to her. She's got followers. You know what I mean? She's great to work with. So give her a shout.
She's great. She's got a great connection to the community, and I appreciate that. Man, so I'm interested in that whole idea of it sounds like, for the most part, temporarily reshaping you said the cornea into a more accurate state. Now, you said it is completely reversible, so it'll go back. But after so many years, I guess, is there do you wear them for the rest of your life, at night, or is there a certain point where you can go a few days without it? Obviously, Taylor went a day, it sounds like, without it. What is the estimated time that it could potentially reverse back? I don't know. You had to have had those questions before.
Yeah. So let's say you decide you don't want to do it anymore for whatever reason. If you stop wearing them for probably a week, your eye will go back to its original state. But as far as like over years time, it's such a good, it does such a good job at slowing down nearsightedness in kids. And then once you're past age 22 or so, your prescription is less likely to change. So we do recommend a yearly exam to assess and see if anything's slightly different from year to year, and redesign, fresh pair of contact lenses. But as far as when you can stop wearing them, if you're a kid and it's slowing down your nearsightedness, we like to do that really through college. And then as an adult, you can kind of decide when you want to do it till I have plenty of adults who just love it so much, because it's basically, it's kind of like LASIK, but there's no surgery, there's no cutting into a tissue. So it's been a pretty cool alternative to offer. But some patients try it for a while and then they'll get LASIK later. So it's just a cool option to have as an adult, but for kids, it's actually therapeutic. We can slow down their nearsightedness from getting worse. So,
okay. So you mentioned LASIK. Now I've heard great things about LASIK and I've heard horrible things about LASIK. And I wanted you, since you are an eye doctor and know all of this stuff and are very experienced, it sounds like, I've heard that a bad LASIK job can make your life completely miserable to the points where, now this is an extreme case, that people have even considered like terminating themselves because of it. Is that a real thing? Like, have you heard that before?
Yeah, there's a few isolated cases of of things that's as such. The complications that can arise from LASIK surgery are pretty minimal. But at the end of the day, you are doing surgery on a healthy eye. So it's elective surgery on an eye that doesn't need surgery, if that makes sense. So you just have to assume the risk, and the risks are there, but they're pretty small. They're very small. I actually specialize in helping people with abnormal shaped corneas. They can't see well with glasses. And some of those patients are post LASIK, and they may have had a condition that went unseen before the LASIK procedure. And so I have personally seen some complications in patients, but it's pretty rare if you've got a good surgeon, if they have all of the testing to do before the surgery to rule out corneal disease. It's pretty safe. It's very safe. But yes, there are isolated cases as such.
Yeah.
There are some dry eye is a very typical complication. And the science is out there, but again, very rare. But you have to assume that risk if you're having any kind of surgery. So,
yeah, okay. Because I know people who have the surgery and they have never worn contacts or glasses ever since, and they have enjoyed their life. But I've heard like the extreme cases, and I think any extreme case is always horrible. You're like, oh my God, that sounds terrible. But then you think about all the people in between that have done something, no matter what surgery or thing it is. Like there's even people that have had, breast augmentation that, have went horribly wrong. Like, but look at all the people that have great experiences. It's just, it's like you said, any surgery, especially elective surgery, that's, if it's one of those surgeries where your doctor is highly recommending it, like to save your life. I mean, it's at that point you're like, if I don't do it,
that's and that's a completely different animal. You know, like for example, if a patient needs cataract surgery, there's an issue that basically means there's an issue between the front of the eye and the back of the eye. The cataract in between the cornea and the retina is preventing light from getting to the retina. And so, I mean, you have to have surgery or else, you know, you're not going to see well, whether we do glasses or contacts. And so that's different, you know, whereas LASIK, you yourself are opting to get that procedure done. And you have to assume the risk because, again, you're electing to have surgery on something that doesn't need it, if that makes sense. So,
okay, a couple of questions about the eye, and then I want to get into the myberry.
Yeah,
I think it's really cool. Okay, I know someone who had a question about diabetes and eyes. How does diabetes affect the eye?
So the inside of the eye has some very small, very fragile blood vessels. And so it's very important for patients with diabetes to have an eye exam yearly, because what we do is we dilate their pupils to make them bigger so that we can look inside at the retina. And if we see any signs of what's called retinopathy, which is when those internal blood vessels can leak and bleed or have little tiny, you know, microaneurysms, or cause swelling of important parts of the eyes, we need to let their doctor know in case their medication needs to be adjusted. And if it's at a certain point where it's affecting their vision or the structures inside of the eye, then they will need to see a retina doctor and have more complex treatment. Diabetes is very prominent here. And we have 4 retina doctors in town, and they are just flooded, you know. And so, it's very important to have an eye exam if you have diabetes, because those tiny blood vessels are very easily affected. Even if you have your blood sugar well controlled, they're still very prone to issues. So, very important to have an eye exam yearly if you have diabetes, for sure.
So weird. I'm fascinated by the eye is literally can tell you so much about your health. It's weird.
Yeah. We've had a couple, you know, as eye doctors, usually you'll have a couple cases where you're the first person that sees the diabetes. And it's always tough because as eye doctors, we don't usually give bad news, but when you're the first person to say, we need to check you, we need to do blood work for diabetes because I think you may have diabetes. Like that's a tough thing for a patient to swallow. And so, but yeah, the eyes can tell you so much. I mean, we see other diseases show up in the eye as well. Even like high cholesterol, we can sometimes see that in the eyes. It's pretty crazy.
Wow. Okay. Ben Pierce Photography says all around great guy.
What's up, Ben? I have like a bunch of Ben's photos in my house. He's just an awesome photographer.
Yeah,
man.
He is. And he loves going out early in the morning on the swamp, dude. And some of his stuff is great that AI can't even replicate. I've tried. Like him and I will talk, and I'll say, "Hey, I created this with AI." He goes, "That's pretty good, but like, it can't." Like, I said, "Look, I know it can't do what you can do, but I can get close."
Yeah.
Okay. The little floaties in the eye.
Yeah.
Okay, you probably have that question all the time. That's probably something that most people wonder about. Whenever I was a kid, I got so concerned that I thought I had dust in my eye, like over the top of my eye. And I'm like doing this and like watching it do that. I'm like, what is it? And I'm like, and I would rub my eyes. I'm like, okay. And then I would like circle them to try to move the thing to get it out of my vision. Because sometimes it would be right there. I'm like, what are you doing?
And then you'll have a floater here and you go to look at it and then all of a sudden it's over here.
So, okay. I think I know what they are to an extent, but what is the floaties?
So inside of the eye is filled with like a jelly type substance called the vitreous, and over time as we age, it kind of shrinks in its formation. Gets a little smaller, and pieces of it, like little proteins of it, can break off and float around. And that's what you're seeing. So it is little proteins that are floating around inside your eye. They are usually too small even for your eye doctor to see. But in some cases, especially people who are, age 50 or older, we can see some of the floaters. But in most cases, they are harmless. But if you notice a sudden onset of floaters or new floaters you've never seen before, you should have an eye exam. It could be retina detachment, tear, retinal hole, something like that. But in general, they're mostly harmless and just part of the aging process. So,
Yeah. But it's crazy because I remember seeing them as a kid.
yeah, I had them at a young age as well. Yeah, a lot of people, it just from person to person is different. Some people have them as teens. Some people have them, don't notice them until like their 30s or 40s. So I always tell patients when that's the diagnosis, we've ruled out anything bad, but unfortunately they're going to be annoying. Okay, so like I can't do anything about that, but your brain eventually kind of learns to ignore them, which is great because you don't want to be like driving with a bunch of spider webs in front of you,
Like doing this.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
bobbling your eyes around.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Lord. Okay, last question about the eyes, and then go to my berry, and then we'll talk about that for a little bit. Okay, marijuana. I have been hearing since a little kid after watching the movie Friday, okay, that, marijuana is good for, is it cataracts or something like that? Like, please tell me that's real. Please tell me that's real.
So what you're saying is that you may have healthy eyes. Is that what you're saying?
Right.
Okay. So, science shows that smoking marijuana or marijuana in your system can lower your intraocular pressure, which is a treatment for glaucoma. Okay.
Oh, glaucoma.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So, a theory, and what circulates around people who smoke is they say like, I have, I'm not going to have glaucoma, or I'll have people show up and say like, can you prescribe me marijuana? Cause do I have glaucoma? And I'll say, no. And I'll say, studies show that, or science shows that you have to have marijuana in your system, like constantly for it to do anything to help with glaucoma.
Doctor, that's not a
And
problem.
so that's what everybody says. Everybody says like, okay, awesome. And then I'm like, you can't, no, I'm sorry. I can't prescribe. I can prescribe this drop that you take once a day, but I cannot prescribe marijuana. You will have to be high
Darn.
all the time. And yeah, the response usually is like, cool. but no,
Right.
I don't prescribe it because it's just not effective, or it's not a consistent treatment, I guess you could say. Yeah.
Got
It's
it.
not-
Okay.
No, sorry.
Like, yeah, doctor, I don't mind being high all the time. Come on, what's up, dude? All right. So, I can talk about the eyes a little bit more, but I want to get into the other word that rhymes with eye is the myberry. So you started essentially a music instrument library, and I think you did that through, was it the 24-Hour Citizens Project?
Yeah, that's correct.
Cool concept, really cool concept for those who, and I'm only guessing that it's for people that, you know, may not be able to afford an instrument, or, you know, wants to dabble, or maybe they play in a band and maybe their instrument broke and like, hey, I need an instrument. Is that what the MyBerry is for? Or essentially give me the breakdown of what the music instrument library is designed for.
Yeah. So the initial thought I had when I came up with the idea was just to open access to instruments, because a lot of times what happens as a kid, with parents who have to pay for the instruments, you may be interested in music, but you don't know what your instrument is. And so like for me, you know, when I was a kid, my parents paid about $600 ish for a trumpet, and I put it down after 4 years. And so like that kind of sucks, you know?
Yeah.
So the idea was, well, what if the kid or whoever, it doesn't have to be a kid, it can be an adult. What if you could try it first? Then you could be like, okay, I really like the fiddle, or I really like the guitar. Then you can go and buy one from like a local business. And so that was kind of the thought behind it. And what's cool is some of the feedback is exactly that. So we've had people check out instruments from the library, and they have bought from like solo violins downtown from Lafayette Music, and they'll leave us feedback at the library. It's at the branch on Willow, Lafayette Public Library on Willow Street at the Clifton Chenier Center.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, people will leave feedback that, like, you know, myself or my kid really enjoyed, you know, fiddle, and we bought one for them. So it's cool to have that access, because, you know, I mentioned a trumpet was $600 when I was a kid. Well, it's double now. It's like $1,200. So instruments aren't getting cheaper. And so it's pretty cool to have that access. All you need is a library card, basically. So
so it works with your library card from Lafayette Parish. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So what is the instrument, like, is it rental, lease, whatever you call it, time frame? Like, when do you have to like return it? How often do you got to renew it? Stuff like that.
So you can check out an instrument. If it's a kid, you have to have a parent. Like, so for instance, if you're younger than 16, your parent has to check it out, but your kid can still play it. But you have it for 4 whole weeks, and then you bring it back, and you can't check that same instrument out again. You have to check out a different one. It can be like, if we have 4 guitars in inventory, you can check out a different guitar, but it's just to be fair to other patrons. And so, yeah, you get it for 30 days, and then you can decide, okay, this is cool. Maybe I want to buy one, or, you know, maybe I want to rent one, or maybe I want to try something else and see if I like that better. So yeah, it's been cool. It's been cool to work with the library, and it's been cool to see that people are, you know, pretty careful with the instruments. Like, you know, they'll return them, which was the major concern of launching this, you know. So
what happens if somebody doesn't return something? Like, has that happened before? It has. And
basically, you know, the library keeps track of that, and that person just can't really use the library. You know, it's kind of the same as like if they've held on to a book or what have you. I don't want to speak for the library because I don't know what the penalty is exactly, but you know, it's not like that person is going to be able to come in and check out an instrument again. So yeah, that's
unless they bring it back and then they're clear, or is it kind of like you have a probationary period? I don't know. I don't know how all that works.
I don't know the details of the the library. That's kind of like their side of it.
Because I know my little boy, we live in Karen Crow, so we went to the Karen Crow library, and he got a couple of books, and we were told that it's 3-week book, basically rental, and every 3 weeks it renews, whether you bring it back or not, for up to, I want to say 6 months, or like there's like so many times, and I was like, okay, so there's some flexibility there for the books. Now, for the instruments, it makes sense that you would have a shorter window because, you know, somebody gets a guitar and keeps it for 6 months, and then at that point they forget about it, and they just it feels like it's theirs at that point, and boom, okay, maybe the library doesn't miss it, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, again, I guess my job for the library is to provide the instruments and have funds to maintain and fix them. So I don't know the ins and outs of, you know, the checkout process and any kind of penalties if you don't return it. But I do know, you know, it's not like, again, if you keep an instrument, that you're not going to be able to check out another one. So it's happened, but for the most part, people are very careful with the instruments, and I think it's because they're just genuinely interested and intrigued in music. So it's been cool. It's been cool, man. It's been cool to do. It's been hard to juggle that with Scott Eye Care, but just this morning I reached out to friends to see if anyone might be interested in forming like a little board or something like that to help me out with it. So it's been great getting the feedback and seeing especially kids play. But if you're an adult and you want to learn an instrument, man, go check one out. Like, it's such an awesome outlet. Like, when I come home from work and I play my guitar, you know, I forget about that patient that was mad about this and that and their glasses and their contacts. It's a great outlet, man. So if you've ever even thought about trying to play an instrument, like, come check one out. We don't have mouthpiece instruments because of, you know, sanitation purposes, but
so no microphones or anything like that.
Right. We have guitar, bass, like electric guitar, or acoustic guitar. We have violins. We have percussion, drums.
Do you have like electric drums or like drum pads?
We have a drum pad. We don't have like a set. We have to have something that can circulate. So like a big set or like even an electronic set, we can't really circulate that. So
many parts. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the most popular, like the instruments that are checked out all the time is the accordion, and
makes sense.
Yeah. And it's cool to have access to that because, you know, the handmade Cajun accordions are very expensive, and that's kind of a trap you can fall into if you're, like we discussed earlier, if you buy one and you decide you don't like it, well, you're out a couple $1,000s, you know? So we have like these beginner Hohner Cajun accordions, and unfortunately the Hohner stopped making them. So I'm trying to find a replacement, because a couple of them need repairs, and they're just the most popular instrument checked out. So it's cool. It's cool. Someone recently made a little Instagram video of how she checked out on accordion, and it led her down this path of, I think her and her sister made like a musical or something like that. It was just kind of blew my mind. But yeah, the whole idea was really just to open up access, because it's just it's tricky to navigate, especially if you have a kid and you want to put money into an instrument that they may just put down just because it wasn't the instrument that they were destined to like, you know.
And kids are kids, man. Especially my kid, he's 9, just turned 9, and he will literally be interested in something all of 2.5 seconds, and then the next day he's interested in something else, and I'm like, but weren't you just interested in this? He's like, yeah, but change my mind. I'm like,
Yeah.
geez, like you change your mind so quick. Like right now he claims he wants to be a YouTuber. He wants to be this YouTuber tomorrow, this YouTuber yesterday. I'm like, well, I thought you wanted to be that kind of YouTuber the other day. He goes, yeah, I know, but I don't like that anymore. I'm like, all right, cool.
My niece is 9, and it feels like yesterday she was wearing like costumes from Frozen, and now she's like watching that K-pop Netflix movie. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, yeah, K-pop Demon Hunter or something like that.
Yeah, I heard it's awesome. I kind of want to watch it this weekend. Yeah, I heard it's really good, and like the moms and dads will like learn the songs and jam with their kids and stuff. So
it like the word Demon Hunter throws me off a little bit. I'm like, look, I understand K-pop, I get it, Korean pop, but like Demon Hunter, like my wife, we like to watch like ghost shows. Like we'll watch Ghost Adventures. We'll watch. My wife will likes to watch Dead Files. I don't know if you've ever heard that. It's been on for like probably 15 some odd years or close to it. And basically, it just this lady who's a medium goes around and like to people's houses, and they like take everything down from somebody's houses, like any crosses, pictures, any kind of things that can indicate a religious figure or backing. And so she goes in that house with a blank canvas and just kind of reads the energy in the room, and it's really cool. I mean, there's some things she sees that her co-host will corroborate with her, and he's like a detective from New York City, retired detective, and like their stories will usually match up. It's really cool stuff. But like this right here, K-pop Demon Hunter, I don't know. It just I might have to like sit down and like watch like a few minutes of it to see, but I don't know. I don't know if it's my jam or not.
Well, I mean, it's so freaking popular right now that it's probably awesome, and so I want to watch it this weekend. So we'll see.
Yeah. Okay. So we are at about an hour and close to 10 minutes here. All right. So going back from in the beginning of the conversation, we talked about your love for the Lafayette, Acadiana area, and you like to support local businesses. What are some places that you have been to recently in the Lafayette or Acadiana area, just in general, that is your like obsession right now? Is there a food place? Is there a local shop that you just can't stop going to that you just love?
Yeah, man. Now that I'm on the spot, it's hard to think, but man, no, it's just it's more about like for me, if I go into a place, especially if it's locally owned and operated, as a business owner of 12 years now, like I know how freaking hard it is, man. And so whenever I come across a business again that's built from the ground up, and I see potential, or I see that they know what they're doing, or they've got it, Caroline's Cookies comes to mind.
Yes.
We were talking about that earlier.
Yeah, before we went live.
Yeah. Caroline's Cookies. So you go in there, and as a business owner, you know that if you have systems in place where if you're not there and the business still runs, or you have systems in place where you can easily franchise your business, you know that you've got something golden. And so Caroline's Cookies comes to mind, and yeah, isn't she in Baton Rouge, like with multiple locations there now?
Yeah, 2 locations in Baton Rouge. And I've
awesome.
never been to them because I don't frequent Baton Rouge very often, but yeah, 2 in Baton Rouge.
Yeah. And so, whenever I walk into a business that knows, that gets it, I like to share it with everyone, whether it's social media or just letting friends know, because it's hard, man. It's hard to have, good marketing.
That's a very hard thing for small local businesses.
Yeah.
Is good marketing. Like Caroline has it figured out. she's young. Her team is young. They're girls. They know social media. They know that kind of like what makes people respond. But for like people that are, having, not to say a midlife crisis, but just a change in career, let's say, they spent 20, 30 years in one profession and that profession is kind of dying out, and they turn to, opening up a restaurant. And opening up a restaurant in the Lafayette, Acadiana area is the most appealing because we love to eat here. Like, you open up a food place, you're going to get swamped for the first like 2 to 3, 4 weeks. And then at that point, after the honeymoon phase is what we like to call it, you got to figure out how to keep people coming back.
Yeah.
And that's hard for a lot of mom and pop places to do unless you are just actively good at social media in general.
Yeah. But also too, you have to keep in mind, like, let's say a mom and pop restaurant opens up and it's delicious. But as Lafayettians, is that a word? I don't know. As people, Lafayette.
Lafstonians? I don't know.
Lafayetonians. As people who live here, as Cajuns, I guess. I don't know. As people, Lafayette do, is we flood their restaurant because we want to eat the food and check it out. Well, franchises and chains have the system in place, even if they're brand new. They have systems in place to handle that. But mom and pops, like, they are figuring it out, especially if this is their first location. They're figuring out as they go. And so what kind of stinks about is when you're open for that first month and you are past capacity, and if you're not able to handle that, people are going to have this strong first impression of you and be very unforgiving. And so that's kind of sucks about the mom and pop opening new, because you really have to, as a customer, give them some slack because they are learning as they go. Now, pay them another visit, give them another chance, and they're probably learning from how at being over capacity. But there's always constant challenges that pop up, and you have to adapt in any business that you own. And I just relate to how difficult that is. And so I just really like to, just kind of spread the word about our businesses and culture here. And Caroline's Cookies comes to mind because, man, you walk in there and it's just like, you feel like you're walking into a franchise, I guess you could say,
And I don't want to stay on this for too long. Before I do that, real quick, we had a couple of comments in the past few minutes. Beth Laborde says, "I heard his office manager was awesome."
I wonder who that is. If that's my office manager. Yeah, no, that's my office manager.
Okay, Anthony B. Daniels. I hope y'all talk about the playlist.
Oh, okay. So I have a Spotify playlist. It's called "This Is Lafayette, Louisiana," and it's all local bands. And so if you look it up on Spotify and you hit shuffle, you might hear Lauren Daigle, Wayne Toops, but then you might hear an underground rock band like Void, or you might hear hip hop like Smooth Ross. It's got all the genres, and it's pretty cool. It's got like 500 follows maybe.
Yeah.
So yeah, look up "This Is Lafayette, Louisiana" on Spotify. And thanks for bringing that up, Anthony, man. So he works with Atmosphere.
Yep.
And he plays the playlist over there. So it's cool. It's just been, I don't know, I just put it together and I was like, it'd be cool if we circulate this a little bit. And it's got a lot of follows now. So
nice, man. I'll have to check that out too. And there's tons of new bands in the Lafayette area. Have you ever heard of Kath?
I haven't heard of Kath. No.
I found him on TikTok.
Okay.
Very interesting. And there's another guy, I can't think of his username right now. I'm friends with him and I share his stuff, but he's like very indie pop, but also kind of hip hopish. Like it's interesting.
Yeah.
He's a young guy. All in Lafayette. I'm like, dude, this is so cool. I love the underground like music scene because they're still relatively unknown, but they're really good.
Yeah, we have some ridiculous talent here. It's just, you know, we're venues have to be very cover band and Cajun Zydeco focused because that brings the crowds. And it's unfortunate, but yeah, we have the talent here, man. I mean, there are some good bands that are here you may not have heard of. So check that playlist out, and you know, I need to add probably some more bands. I'll look up Kath, and yeah, that it's cool. Like, get out there and then check out a band you haven't heard of. Like,
right.
I mean, how many times I love Wayne Toops and I love Josh and Gino that play with him.
Right.
Josh is my favorite guitar player around here. Gino's makes some amazing music himself.
Dude, Keith Frank. I love a good Keith Frank song.
Right. But how many times have you seen those guys? You've seen them a billion times, right? Go watch another band. Go check them out. And you'll be surprised at how talented and diverse Lafayette is, for sure. Music, when it comes to music.
Yeah. All right. So going back, this is to be the last thing, and I know we gotta close off because we're almost at a little over an hour and 15 minutes. Okay, so going back to the businesses that look franchisable, I think that's an interesting thing because there's a particular company in Lafayette that gets a little bit of shade in that regard. Jet Coffee. Jet Coffee is 100% locally owned, locally founded, locally grown. But they look so much like a national chain, a national franchise, or whatever you want to call it. Because chain and franchise are different, but same, but different. But they look so polished. And there's a lot of people that think that they are a franchise that just came into Lafayette, but they're 100% locally owned. So there's also this thing where it's like, people are like, oh, I know they're locally owned, but I don't like that they're not mom and pop. And mom and pop, I guess, being that it is one location, one or two owners, literally a mother and a pop, you know, a mom and pop in there running the place, a little small family. Like Coffee Weed Cottage. Rest in peace, Coffee Weed Cottage. It was a great place.
Yeah, that was a cool vibe in there, man.
Dude, you wanted a vibey, really like cozy, like find a nook type of place. That was it. But it just didn't make it. And it's sad because it was so unique. That was a mom and pop place. Definitely not franchisable. I don't know how you would franchise that.
Yeah, true.
It's hard.
Yeah. Specifically, there's a book called The E-Myth, and it talks about, designing your business as if you were going to franchise it, even if you're not going to, because a business that can operate without you there, it can be sold when you're ready to sell it. It can be easily grown. It can be easily replicated. So it's something that a lot of businesses strive for, but at the end of the day, you do have to separate yourself. So, Coffee Weed Cottage, you know, the coffee aspect of is obviously very franchisable, but it was such a unique spot, you know, that's how they separated themselves. But that's a very, very competitive
market, coffee right now.
Absolutely. Oof. So, I mean, I'm sure there's several factors that went into it, but yeah, that's a cool place. And there's nothing wrong with enjoying a Subway sandwich or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But like, do you need to post about it? No, they have $1 billion marketing budget. So
great point there. And this is something I said that exact same thing this past weekend. So my wife and I and my little boy and a couple other family members, we had lunch, and we went to a couple of new businesses in town, and we had lunch at Olive Garden. I didn't take pictures. I didn't post that we went there because nobody cares.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Sure.
You know, it's Olive Garden. I founded developing Lafayette, or at least the thought process of developing Lafayette at an Olive Garden, which is funny to say because, you know, I write about, you know, a lot of local businesses and all that. But I took pictures of the place that we went to called Gotcha. It's a new locally owned Japanese style arcade.
I saw that. I
Let me
want to bring
tell
my
you.
niece there. It looks cool.
It is cool. It feels like a kid's casino,
Yeah.
but it's fun. It is fun. You go, you pay a little bit of money, you get some tokens, and you know that it's a pretty for what it is. It only takes 2 to 3 tokens per game to play, and you can actually win some really cool little prizes, and they can be redeemed for better prizes behind the counter. But like you can actually leave out of there spending less than, you know, 20, 30 bucks and get a couple little plushy toys and everything and feel like you played a little bit. But if you want to play a lot, like you can win a PS5 and some other stuff, but it takes a while. But that's a cool place. I took pictures there. We went to, oh my God, we went to a couple of other places.
Is Gotcha locally?
Yeah,
Local?
yeah.
That's cool.
Local guy
man.
that created
yeah,
that.
I'm gonna go check them out.
It
man.
looks very
fun.
franchisable though, because it is. They're
it
opening
presents that way. Yeah, absolutely.
right. And all the machines, all the games are branded with Gotcha. Like it's very well done. I'm like so surprised that it's locally owned because I know the owner. He's a local guy, but he's had a lot of local restaurants, and he's just kind of diversifying his business
Sure.
models, I guess. And he's also building a Gotcha in Baton Rouge and New Orleans, so immediately expanding fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we posted about that. We posted that we went to the Spirit Halloween store that's locally owned. And now it's not a locally owned brand,
Sure.
but the people that own it are local people. They're
Yeah.
great people. So we shared that. But my wife was like, "You're not going to share that we went to Olive Garden?" I'm like, "Olive Garden doesn't need it.
They don't need
They
your
don't
help.
need me posting about them." Like,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you know, I think, like you said, I think there's nothing wrong with, you know, getting a Subway sandwich. I like Subway every once in a
Yeah.
while.
And look, those places provide
Right.
jobs and they provide
And there's
tax
local people that
revenue.
work there.
And yeah.
And I think people miss the plot sometimes. It's like, at the end of the day, you also got to do what's best for you. So sometimes, you know, if there's a deal out there that a national company has that saves you a little bit of money and you need to save a little bit of money at that time, do what you got to do. But like, if you want an old time grocery sandwich, you know, go there and get something that's really big and really hearty.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think businesses here really need to, I don't know, man, something needs to happen because there's so many businesses closing.
Yeah.
And I think it's also very competitive because we're restaurant focused and everybody's trying to open up a restaurant.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I love Lafayette. I know you do too. And I hope that Lafayette continues to grow. And I think it will. It feels like it is. That I don't feel like it's going to stop. But to leave it off, to close it, what do you hope to see for you, your business, and Lafayette?
So during COVID, I bought a little plot of land in Scott. It's on the same street that we're located, Cameron Street. It's across from the Scott post office. And in the super early phases of building a standalone eye clinic. And so we needed it yesterday because, you know, we've outgrown the space that we're in.
I know I wrote about you doing that a while back, but you took a pause on it.
Yeah. So at first I was gonna try to open up in what's the Apollo extension, West Village. But you know, the timing was bad and the price didn't make sense. But I decided just to buy the land and sit on it for a little bit. And you know, it makes more sense now than it did during COVID when materials were crazy. So I just sat on it for a few years, and so hopefully we'll open a standalone in, you know, a few years. And you know, as far as Lafayette goes, whenever I travel a lot. I love to travel. And people think like, you know, I spend all my money on travel and
Feels
all
like it,
this
right?
and that. But the truth is, I put everything on Scott Eye Care credit card and I get points and I use the points. So that's how I travel. yeah, I don't have the the budget to do that much travel, but that's how I get around. But anyways, when I travel, my favorite cities are very walkable, and Lafayette is not that at all. And then people complain about parking at Marcus when a city that is set up correctly, you know, you're going to park somewhere and you're going to walk there, or you're going to take the bus, or you're going to take, you know, some easy transit to the park. And then you're going to walk to the store that's a block away. And then you're going to walk to, you know, the next place, the coffee shop. Lafayette's not like that at all. And I don't know how it can be, but if there's any kind of improvement to make it a little more pedestrian friendly, you know, that would be amazing. But that's like that would be my dream for Lafayette. I just don't know how feasible it is, because I think it feels like Lafayette's a city that wasn't meant to be as big as it is now. Not that it's huge by any means, but
no, but when you're walking, it's big.
Yeah.
When you got to get from, you know, north side Lafayette to the south side of Lafayette, you're not walking that. It's going to take you a minute. So, you know, you have to take a bus or, you know, get a ride. But, you know, we went to Atlanta, me and my family, for the first time back in into May, right after school ended. And we stayed at, I wouldn't say this is a budget hotel. It definitely was not, but it was a premium hotel, but at a budget price. We got it at a good deal, like less than $125 a night. So we stayed there a couple nights. The Westin, right in downtown on Peachtree, which I think is I was told Peachtree Road or Avenue is like the rich people road. I don't know, but Peachtree. And we parked our car. It was valet only, which I was freaking out over. I'm like, great, it's going to cost me so much money. But it costs like $65 a night. So the hotel was relatively priced, but $65 a night to park. We never moved our car for the 2 or 3 days that we were there. I was like, this is wild.
Yeah, isn't that awesome? Like Atlanta has that belt line. I don't know if you.
I didn't get to do that. I wanted to do that. Next time we're planning to go back, but next time.
Yeah. So basically it's like a giant sidewalk across the city. I guess that's how you can explain it. And I mean, you can just walk across the city and it's very accessible. But yeah, that's what stood out to me when I visited Atlanta. It was just, you park and you're done. Like you can just walk, ride your bike, whatever. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay.
But who that?
yeah, I know. Look, and we want good stuff for Lafayette. Will we get it in our lifetime? I don't know. There's still people that have. It's weird to say there are people that were young at once and have since passed on, waiting for the I-49 future I-49 corridor. Like, been waiting for that. So we'll get it at some point. But yeah, man, I really appreciate you coming on, and I enjoyed having you and talking about all the stuff that you're doing and talking about Lafayette. Is there anything else that we didn't talk about that you want to mention before we go?
Yeah, I think we should do a show where I interview you, because your job is very unique, and I think it'd be interesting to learn about like how you started and how you made this like your living. And I don't know, I just thought about that on the way here. I was like, man, what if I flipped the tables and I interviewed him at this? I wasn't gonna do that, but like I think it'd be cool, and it'd probably be better if you got someone who actually interviews, you know. But man, you should do that. You should do an episode where someone interviews you about developing Lafayette, how it started, how it grew, where you are now. I think that would be super cool, dude.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. I don't know. I've never heard of like a developing Baton Rouge or anything like that. Does any other city have something like this?
So funny you say that. Ever since I started developing Lafayette, and I know this is not part of the whole podcast, but I've had people basically take the naming concept and use it in other cities. Some of them have asked for permission, and some of them have just done it. So early on, somebody created a developing BatonRouge.com, and I thought, oh, well, that domain's never going to be taken. I'm going to own that domain, and I should have owned it early on, because I own Developing Las Vegas.
Oh, okay.
I was quick to buy that one because I wanted to expand there one day, and I still do. But we have developing BR, we have developing 225. So developing Baton Rouge started, and they tried to do a version of what I was doing, but in a way that was more map based. So they were like, oh, we're going to map all the new construction and developments, and you're going to come to our website and look at the map and just click on points that you're interested in. I'm like, I had that idea too, but then I thought people want to be spoon fed. It's basically what it is. People don't want to have to go and, because a lot of the information that I have is publicly accessible, some of it. Permits are public if you know where to look. Alcohol permits are public if you know where to look. The information is there, some of it, I preface that. So nobody wants to do that though. Permits have been public for years. Nobody wants to go do that. People want to see it come through. And what I decided to do was just create a version of a news feed that was not about shootings, not about any of the negative stuff, and post the good stuff. And so it has been duplicated a little bit, but not successfully. But there have been other versions of what I do. So, for example, in St. Pete, Florida, or I think that's right, there's a person who created St. Pete Rising, and they do a very similar style. I don't think it was a direct copy, but I think the mindset was the same, where they're promoting the city, and it's called St. Pete Rising because it's growing. And they post about new developments, new businesses, and that page started following me, and I made a post thanking them for the shout out or thanking them for the follow. And he reached out to me privately and was like, hey, thanks for the shout out. Like, I'd love to hear about what you're doing and how we both kind of like do something very similar. And I was like, dude, thanks for reaching out. I think this is so cool. And I said, I started in 2012, you started in 2013. So it's like almost a similar timeline.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it's really, really neat to see. And so other cities have versions of this, but I think Developing Lafayette's name is well known enough, especially if you search it even out of state, that if you're a respectable person, you're not going to rip off the name. But there have been rip-offs. Developing Denver on Instagram has ripped it off and created a completely AI generated version of Developing Denver. They kill it on the views. I don't know how, but and what they do is really good. They reached out to me actually like, hey, we can do AI generated content for you. I'm like, no, I have a different style. I like a little bit more personal style, but what they're doing seems to be working for their area. It's fine. I tried to put some law perimeters around the name, and we couldn't. We can't trademark every single name of every city. We couldn't do developing insert city here for every city because we don't have that kind of jurisdiction or power. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, to answer your question, people have tried to duplicate it, but in Louisiana, typically they know us, and so Developing Leesville had started up, and now it's developing Vernon Parish, Rapides Parish, and Beauregard, I believe. And so they've created versions of it, but they don't use our logo. They're very independent, but they use us as a model of they want to promote their area. Yeah, they see we're doing it, and they want to promote the area, and they're excited about the area too, and that's what I love. Yeah, I'm not upset when somebody wants to do something similar. Just don't completely rip it off.
Yeah, if someone has your little fleur de lis, but they have Denver in the background, that would
right. Yeah. I mean, do what you want to do, man. I love that what I created is so admirable enough that other people want to do it. I recognize that, but just be careful. Don't rub me the wrong way. I'll shout you out. I'll promote you. I'll share your page. I'll do whatever. I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I can't interview myself. Hey, look, if you wanted to flip the script, you could have very well have done it. I would have been fine with it.
No, it's just an idea, man. Let's get someone in here. Let's get David Begnaud interview you or something. Man.
That would be wild. David, if you're listening, man, that'd be cool. Well, man, Dr. C. Cazares, man, I really appreciate you. It's been a pleasure, and I hope you have a great weekend.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thanks for having me. It's been good. It's been 6 years since we did this, man.
I know, it's crazy. All right, guys, that is it. We hope you enjoyed the episode, and we'll see you on the next one. You have a good one.